In John 10:10, Jesus said, I have come that they may have life to the full, abundant life. In fact, in John 6:33, Jesus said that the reason he came down from heaven was to give life to the world. But then he warned, few find the path that leads to life. Hi, I'm Mark Shattuck, and this promise of abundant life is the single most important offer of all times. I mean, this is what we're all seeking every day of our lives. It's what we're all after in everything we do. And it's what Jesus said he came to give us. So why did he say that few find it? Well, first, we need to define what abundant life is. It can be a rather ambiguous idea, even though every human being is seeking it every day of their life. And so I found that there are 7 core needs which God wired into us to be fully met when he created us. These 7 core needs are still his intention to fulfill in us today. Here's what they are. It's happiness, peace, security, love, validation, meaning, and relationship. These are the 7 most important things we desire at all times. Here's what God had in mind when he created us with this built-in desire. Number 1 is happiness. God made us to live a life of unending joy. That's why we all desire to be happy. He made us that way. That's why an unhappy life is so painful and disfiguring. He simply didn't make us to live that way. Number 2 is peace. God made us to live a life free of worry, free of fear, free of condemnation. God intended for us to live in perfect peace. Could you imagine that? This is actually promised to us by Jesus himself when we have trouble in our lives. And I show you how Jesus offers perfect peace in the free video when you join below. All right, number 3 is security. God made us to live a life that is completely secure and safe. This includes financial or provisional security and also physical life and death security. He made us to live in perfect safety. That's why circumstances like we're experiencing right now are so frightening, because God didn't create us to experience threatening or dangerous circumstances. Number 4 is love. God made us to live with perfect acceptance, to be deeply and genuinely wanted. He made us all to feel loved at all times. He did not create us to live with rejection or abandonment or loneliness. Number 5 is validation. God made us to live significant lives where we're valued and respected for who we are and what we have to offer. God made us to be fully validated, wanted, and appreciated. Number 6 is meaning. God made us to live a life of purpose and fulfillment that adds to the world in positive and powerful ways. He made us to be meaningful to him and to others. And finally, number 7 is relationships. God made us to live in healthy companionship and friendship, to be part of his life-giving community of God as well, with others and for others. God himself is a community of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And he made us in his image, again, to be a part of his life-giving community. Now consider this. God created us to have these 7 core needs met to the full at all times without fear or lack of loss. Wouldn't that be amazing? God wired these desires into us. Again, that's why it hurts so bad when we don't have them. That's why it's so confusing and painful to live without them. You see, God intends for us to live in a relationship with him that ensures these needs are always met, regardless of outcomes, regardless of circumstances, regardless of what's happening in the world around us. He has that power. We do not. And neither does anything we can arrange for in this world. That's why Jesus said not to worry about our lives in Matthew 6, like I talked about in the previous video. That's why Paul said not to be anxious about anything in Philippians 4. It wasn't make Christianity a really hard thing to live, because it's actually impossible to be a good Christian by our own strength and wisdom. No one can pull it off. And so that's why Jesus had to come down from heaven. Listen, God knew we needed a total supernatural intervention. So he could give us that which we cannot secure for ourselves, that we cannot arrange for in this life. Again, that's what I talked about in the previous video. Jesus calls us to have a Zoe-life relationship with him, because the Zoe-life of Jesus fills us with the 7 core needs God wired into us when he created us. And he fills us to the full, abundantly. And this can happen regardless of our circumstances, regardless of how things are going in our daily reality. And so the reason Jesus said few find the path of life is that few have a life-giving relationship with Jesus. Few live with the kind of relationship with God that fills them with the Zoe life of Jesus. This happens because we all have a series of obstacles which keep us from finding the path to the very thing we desire the most, to having our 7 core needs met to the full, which is abundant life. Now, there are as many nuances to these hindrances as there are people in the world. But I've found that there are 8 fundamental obstacles that keep us from finding the path to abundant life. Every human being has these obstacles in their life. No one is exempt from them, because they're part of the brokenness which was set into motion when mankind fell out of the life-giving relationship that God intended us in the beginning. And so again, this is why Jesus had to come down from heaven to make available that supernatural transformation that we needed in order to be able to receive the abundant life he said he came to give us. And so for this reason, I created a one-of-a-kind video course revealing these 8 obstacles and how to remove them. There's nothing like this anywhere else. It's the culmination of the past 20 years of my spiritual journey, and still counting. It comes from intense Bible study, spiritual revelations, and many other people's knowledge that has helped me tremendously along my journey. It also comes from several very intense adversities that I've been through, where my outcomes and expectations were stripped away, and I found the amazing and fulfilling presence of Jesus at the end of it all, at the end of myself. So if you want to find this hidden path to abundant life, the one Jesus said few find, then the Hidden Path video course will show you how. So sign up below and you'll get instant access to a free video where I reveal how Jesus promises to overcome our trouble. It's a famous verse that is so often only partially quoted, where Jesus says, "In this world you will have trouble and tribulation." The crazy thing about this terrible statement is that it's only a small part of an incredibly great promise. This promise is something I learned years ago that has changed my life. I use it over and over when I encounter trouble, like when all hell breaks loose in our world like it is right now. In this video, I'm going to show you the overcoming power that Jesus promises. It's real, it's practical, and it works. That's why Jesus gave us this promise in the first place. So sign up below and you'll get instant access to the free video. But if you're afraid of what's happening in our country right now, I understand. I've been through this before. Like I shared in the first video, because of the housing market collapse of 2008, my family and I were down to our last $700 in June of 2009. That's all we had, just $700. And though I was scared to death about losing my business, losing our home, losing everything, God was teaching me a new way to live. He was showing me a hidden path. There was a hidden path in my adversity. Turns out there's a hidden path in every adversity. It's to see Him as a source of abundant life rather than how things are going in life. Because in 2009, the circumstances in my life were a nightmare. But God showed me how He wanted to overcome my financial trouble due to the housing market collapse. And He did. When the housing market collapse was at its worst, God saved my family and I with miracle architecture deals. And He's doing it again right now in this pandemic mess. God has shown me a hidden path to true life, the abundant life, a path to peace and security like I've never experienced before. I want you to find this path. Jesus wants you to find this path. That's why he came down from heaven to give his life on the cross so you could have abundant life. So join me on this journey to find your path to true supernatural peace and security and love that Jesus has for you right now. And so I want to pray for you right now. I pray that you will experience the life-giving reality of Jesus right in the midst of this frightening reality we're living in. I pray that the eyes of your heart would be opened in order to see the riches of abundant life, Zoe-life, that's available right now through Jesus Christ. And if you're struggling in life right now, I pray that you would let God in to do his thing in your life. You don't have to tell him what to do. Just pray this simple prayer. Father, what do you have for me? Pray this with sincerity. Pray this like a child, like his child, because you are. And keep praying it until you receive his answer. Thanks for watching, and God bless you.